Welcome back everyone to a new Hearts of Iron 3 update, playing as the United States. What we're actually looking at is a recording of my video, which I'm not going to end up posting because I had some sound issues with it, but that's fine. So we'll just, I'll walk you through the highlights, and then we have some more interesting stuff actually going on in-game right now. So I want to make this video today in particular because today is Memorial Day, which in the United States is the day we commemorate all those who lost their lives in service of the armed forces. Now, I'm sure that this is something that a lot of other countries do. I'm not really familiar with other countries' customs or holidays or practices honoring their military. I know that Australia has a day like this. But actually, if you are from a different country and you know the name of your particular holiday, this one's called, we have two actually, Memorial Day, which is specifically to commemorate soldiers who have lost their lives serving the armed forces, serving the country. But they also have Veterans Day, which is in November, and that one's to commemorate just anybody who's been a part of active duty in the military. So those two things. I'm doing this video specifically because when we think of Memorial Day, most people think of World War II. I mean, you have like Saving Private Ryan, which was a big movie kind of piggybacking on the Memorial Day theme. So here we are. This is a battle that took place. We're still very early on in the war, but I had somehow tracked down. I have all of my guys based in Plymouth right here, and we caught on to the Tirpitz, the Schlesien, and the Admiral Scheer moving about the English Channel. So I captured that. I was able to engage them in combat, and they immediately lose their Schlesien. In fact, then I jumped to 320. I have these written down, and I can probably just start playing from here. You can see that they actually lost. I definitely killed the, whoops, I need to hit mute. I definitely killed the initial one, the Admiral Scheer, immediately, but the Tirpitz and the Schlesien tried to slip away. So then I caught them again and actually was able to sink them. Now in the Pacific, we have 1040. I was able to catch a big group in the Pacific. Now this is mostly transports. I would say it's about 10 transports, but it has a battle cruiser, as you can see, a carrier escort carrier. So quite a few things going on here. This is the list. So we see some 5 heavy cruisers, some light cruisers, a substantial force really. And then you see towards the bottom, there's a lot of transport ships and I think a few landing craft. Now if I jump forward to 19, this is what this whole video was about, was these two big naval conflicts. And there's one other one I'm not highlighting that happened over just off the coast of Spain, where we sank some more German. So what I did is my aircraft carrier fleet, my carrier task force, CTF, engaged the hostile forces, the hostile fleet, in this western naval province. But then I brought my surface action group, my SAG, over to the eastern one. And this one's the one that's doing a lot of damage to the convoy system of the Japanese, which I'll showcase as soon as we jump into the game here. So I brought them down. The carrier task force I just kind of leave around here as a defensive measure, and we'll see why that's going to be important in a second. And note this is very soon, like very recent compared to when I am in game, and that's going to be significant when I show you what's happening. So anyways, this is the nice 1-2 combination that I've come up with. Well, it's not that I've, created this or whatever, but I found that it's very effective. By using your aircraft to whittle down the enemy organization. So we can see here the Haguru has very low organization. Usually the CAGs, the carrier air groups, can't really whittle down strength that much. Maybe 10 points, 15 points out of the 100. However, if you're able to whittle down their organization, they don't fight effectively. So this fleet was here against my carrier task force. We whittled down their organization. And then they proceeded into the waiting arms of my surface group, who just demolishes them. So I'm going to let this run, although it's muted, so I can talk over it. We can see that if we actually start moving forward in time, my 3 battleships are just going to annihilate this fleet. Currently, they have 23 ships, but we see now it's down to 22. And if I just jump forward, now it's down to 21. Go forward a little more, it's down to 17. So this 1-2 combination happens to be really effective. Now if I want to go to 2035, we'll get the end result of this, which is they're down to 10 now. You can see that we just decimated their forces. And we didn't really take many losses ourselves. We don't take any ship losses, but some of our ships are pretty damaged. Now I'll pause here. We'll see that I end up killing a heavy cruiser, battle cruiser, another heavy cruiser, destroyer, transport. That's a landing craft. Another destroyer, heavy cruiser, destroyer, landing, destroyer, landing craft. So a pretty substantial number of ships. Now, unfortunately, that did take away a lot of my naval bombers' strength, and I mean, that is intentional that we went black there for a second. It was a pretty devastating attack for me, just because a lot of my forces, although not destroyed, are now going to need repairs. And now we have a very serious naval invasion going on. So you can see here, this is the invasion of Guam. Now, I'm not too worried on one hand, because Guam has a very strong coastal fort presence. So the 3 garrisons I have in here, and I knew that they might be attacked, so I put guys with defensive doctrine in here as well. I was anticipating this to be attacked, so I was prepared, basically. We have level 5 coastal fort, which is significant, very significant. And on top of that, we have a very strong defensive garrison to begin with. So those two things coupled together means I'm not too worried about this fleet. It's kind of fun that we are being attacked, though. I thought I might actually be the first person to attack, because we actually lost Attu Island up here in the north to a hostile invasion. They actually invaded by sea and took that over, and that actually caused me to react by putting a garrison, and I'm building up a fort and a land fort and coastal fort presence in Anchorage, Alaska. So let's go back to our Guam case here. I think we're going to win this pretty easily. Now, there's a lot of interesting things that have been introduced, battle mechanics, excuse me, that have been introduced in their finest hour. Now we have this, and if you look down here, it says amphibious invasion progress, invasion total attack ability, invasion total offense. Basically, as you're getting unloaded from these landing craft, your troops actually are defended by the landing craft, but they also can't attack, so that means that their attack ability right now is only at 23%, down to a quarter, a little bit below a quarter of what it should be. However, they are defending at about twice what they normally would defend at, because it's harder to hit something that's on the landing craft. Now, as this invasion progress goes higher and higher, these two numbers will start, their final normalization point is 100%, obviously. That's when they're fighting and defending just as normal, because they're on land. I don't think that they're ever going to get there. And you can see that intentionally, the attack deficit is much more than the defense increase. So it's about a 4 times decrease to your attack, but not quite even a twice increase to your defense, which is intentional because there's a huge disadvantage for an amphibious landing. Even though the Marines should be decreasing this, their amphibious, you can see their amphibious penalty down here is only minus 14%, so it's not so bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this forward. Now the reason why I was saying that all those naval battles we just fought right here and right here in the Face Shoal and the Santa Rosa Reef, those were important. I would call that the Battle of Santa Rosa Reef, really, because it's easier than Face Shoal to pronounce. Now that Santa Rosa Reef battle, so instead of that was like our Battle of Midway, the first real battle of the war. That wore down a lot of my aircraft. So we can see here my aircraft are a little bit, these guys are only at 90%, but they have high enough organization, I'll probably use those first. And we have here my tactical bombers, who I'll probably have to use, and the other naval bombers, who are actually a little bit worse off. My question is, I've never tried this, so let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to attempt to do a bombing. Can I bomb? See, I can't bomb my own lands. So how do I do I guess there's no way you can actually bomb the forces that are landing other than just by doing a naval strike. So, knowing that, I'll just go ahead and do a naval strike then. So, naval strike here. They have, I guess before we do that, let's actually get our fighter group to clear the skies. So, unpause, here we go. And, oh, I forgot to mention how incredibly we are doing a lot of damage to the Japanese. So if I take away the Germans, we can see that I'm sinking about 170,000 tons of cargo per month. I'm not sure exactly what the statistics are, but I think that's somewhere up there, maybe even higher than what the Germans were sinking per month against the Allied forces. So if you can imagine doing that to Japan, who just simply does not have the capability to reproduce the number of convoys they'll need to resupply these losses they're taking. Really devastating. And I'm even doing a little bit of the same thing to Germany just by running my submarine in this little area. It's being extremely successful. Not nearly, as you can see by the numbers here, not nearly as effective as the convoy raiding that I'm doing in the Pacific, but the Pacific is a very big area, right? And I have, English up here, who's just kicking butt, and I have other submarines. I had my surface action group until I recalled it to help out with that enemy fleet. It was patrolling around Saipan. All these things have been very effective. So we see another Japanese fleet slipping by. Now, mind you, again, they have taken a lot of stuff. Like Australia is currently not in the war, really. It's a dead nation because their capital has been captured. A lot of their production base is gone. So they're at 10%. I do need to react then because that means they are making some significant gains against me. My attack defend, the first two lines here, are 60-140. Their attack defend is like 25-103. I think. It's hard to read it because it's two different numbers. But I'm going to guess 25-103, which means my attack defend is significantly higher than them. Their piercing attack is actually lower than my garrison piercing attack. That's hilarious. So we're dug in. We have a decent leader skill. They actually have combined arms, which is, I guess they have. Let's see. Can I find their? Sometimes you can actually find their infantry. I can't. I'm imagining that means that they have engineers attached here. So let's go ahead and keep running this forward. I'll let my aircraft. Are they already engaging in air superiority? They are, and there's no... Okay, so that means if nothing else is going on, I'll return them. They are in Nagana Bay, now they're back to Guam. So let's get our naval bombers to start sinking these ships. Now, who should I bring out? This is the problem, that these ships... Well, actually, the CAGs here are really what's shredded. I think I'm going to switch back to a 2-carrier fleet, because I am having significant stacking penalties with 6 aircraft. So I think that might not be the sweet spot. I thought previously, I'm pretty sure 3 aircraft, there was a real reduction of CAG stacking penalty. They might have taken that out in their finest hour, or there's been an adjustment I'm not aware of. And it looks like 6 is no longer the right number. So I'm glad I was doing this test game just to show, figure out where the min-max numbers fall currently. I don't think I have any CAGs, another group close by, and my surface action group is just very depleted. So what do? We go over to Midway, or Wake Island, I should say. This is not Midway's over there. We go over to Wake Island and we grab... Oh, this fleet's also pretty beat up. So we don't really have a good option here. I guess we wait a little bit and see how our naval bombers do. So let's see how they do. There's our bombing. Okay, so we're not really up against that much, and their CAGs are not coming to assist. I guess their CAGs are also really beat up. So the Asamas, we might even sink the Asama. Ooh, wow, the Hosho took a brutal blow there. We can even sink their landing craft, and then that eliminates the ability of these troops to land at all. They'll just immediately die. So this is good. We'll definitely keep naval striking then. It appears to be the right solution to our problem here. Okay, oh, we sank one. I don't know which one we sank. It was probably a light cruiser or a destroyer. Now there's 1, 2, 2, 2. Okay. Very good. I'll just accept all this stuff from anyone. Okay, let's get you to pause for a little bit since you are seriously depleted. Get you to return and naval strike with the other group. And this is the cycling that you really need to do in order to get the most effect out of your forces. And there's the Denmark group, still sinking ships. Very good. Let's keep this one up for another run. And again, we're just sinking the Japanese convoys left and right. I'm estimating about 2 convoys we sink a day, sometimes maybe even 3 convoys. I think the average is between 2 and 3 convoys per day, and that's significant. So one of these, if we look at my IC, which I wasn't off by much, one of these groups adds 10. But these take a significant amount of time to build. 100 days and 2 IC, so that means each convoy we sink is 0.2 IC. It's not much, but if you're sinking 0.4, so 2 of these at least, about 0.5, because I'd say 2.5 per day, that's 0.5 IC that they're going to have to dedicate for a long time to replenish their losses. So, now I wanted to actually talk about the reason I'm doing this. Oh man, we actually sank their escort carrier, another heavy cruiser, and another light cruiser. Things are not going well for them. It doesn't look like we're actually going to need my fleets to leave port. Let's just wait one more, and I'm going to... Yeah, I think... Did they actually sink? Nope, all 3 Marines are still engaging, so... What counters Blitz? Okay, good. We're not being countered or countering. So I like that, because I think if things are just go as is, we won't have any problems. Their shore bombardment is probably really, really small. A shore bombardment of -4, yeah, it's almost nothing. Yeah, so they're 57, 61, and we are at 141, 150. Yeah, there's no way we'll lose this at the current rate things are going. So let's see, let's drop that down so I don't get that notification. I want to bump this up so it's not yellow but green. Okay, very good. And yeah, Memorial Day. So the point of doing this on Memorial Day is in the United States, it's kind of become more of a national barbecue day. But I don't really think that's always the most appropriate way of looking at this. It's nice to remember that Memorial Day does stand for something bigger. And I know there's definitely a lot of people who respect it, but if you don't, or if you haven't given it thought what Memorial Day actually is for, why we have a national holiday, I would encourage a little bit of thinking that there are people who died defending the liberties, which we enjoy. And even if you don't think, like for Afghanistan, there's people we remember, hence memorial, who have died in Afghanistan and Iraq. And even if you don't support the war, the cause, and you don't justify it, that's something you can take up with the government. But the soldiers themselves are out there, they're doing their job, which happens to be like the most dangerous job in the world, right? So they're fighting more for their brothers than for the country itself. I hope that's not blasphemous to say, but it's the truth. It's really the camaraderie that exists there, those people dying for each other. That's the real heroism. A lot of these soldiers aren't really involved in the politics or don't even care about the politics. They just go there and they do their job. So, especially you can think of the situation where it's there was an obvious good and bad in World War II. And we all, since it's a world war, obviously a lot of forces, a lot of men throughout the whole world gave their lives fighting for their nation. And we should respect that greatly. So I know it's National Barbecue Day, the very beginning of summer. Kids are off school, the first time we can really all enjoy each other's company. But it should be something more than that still. If nothing more than just a passing comment, then I think that's a good thing. Just to remember, keep our eye on the prize, really. What is this holiday even for, right? So I think that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and just finish up. Oh, a nice convoy. I think that this battle is basically going to win itself. I'll send my tactical over here to Naval Strike as well, just because we've done so much damage to them. I trust my tacs. I think they'll even get this kill. We'll let them go back because they didn't take much damage. Ooh, 2 more escorts. Oh, in the Western Channel. That's... Aha! That's my patrolling SAG. So these guys are the ones who took down the Tirpitz and the Celestian and all that. I have 2 surface air groups up there because it's not as important to have surface air groups up in an area when you have close air support from England itself. So it looks like we could... No, these tacs just don't get the job done, do they? Okay, try it again. Okay, they did. Very soon. I'm actually just going to pull out my surface air group. Doesn't look like... that's sortie. It doesn't look like they have the capability to defend themselves. It's like 1 heavy cruiser left. And I'll continue to bomb with my tacticals just to allow my fleet... There it is. Allow my fleet to engage them. And that should be the end of this, my first invasion. And there it is. So, Okay, so we did take 500 soldiers and casualties. Memorial Day, to note. But we killed 1,700, but that's not the truth. Really, we killed 30,000 because they don't have anybody left. So, that's it. Well, thanks for watching this update. I'll be pushing on with the Italian series as soon as I finish this kind of practice run of what to do, because I am experimenting with a lot of things. I don't really know how to use landing craft yet, so I want to get to that point in the war and practice with those before I begin. But it's the next series that I want to begin. So if you're interested in all this stuff, you'll just have to keep an eye on the channel. So thanks for watching. Have a happy Memorial Day, even if this video reaches you beyond it. Let me know what the different customs of different countries are. I'd be interested. And other than that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.